Hello everybody, how you doing? Yeah, Jerson here, and tonight we're going to have a little bit of a different live session. We're going to do a live session on Instagram, and also I'm going to broadcast in YouTube. So just bear with me. I'll see if we can get everything ready. And, tonight we're going to have a little bit of a different live session. Yeah, I'm just going to run some quick tests just to make sure that everything is working. And no, it's no, looks like YouTube is not quite working. Just need to make sure that you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you guys can hear me, but I'm not sure if, let's see, I'm just going to double check here in my Instagram. Yeah, thanks Cesar. Looks like, let's see, just going to I forgot that YouTube, I need to check with my little headset. Yeah, it is working. Yeah, it is working YouTube as well. That's good. So hopefully connection will be all right, and we will start now. Good evening everyone, and welcome to the live session that I'm going to be delivering, the 15 minutes of free consulting with what I'll do. Has it stopped working? How is that going? Yeah, I think now it's back. Yeah. All right. So what I'll do, we'll invite Cesar to join me in Instagram, and we'll hear from him his questions, and then we will take from there. So I'm going to
Hello, Gerson.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Good. And you? Yeah,
Good.
I can hear you very well.
That's all right. All right, good. Yeah, well, nice to meet you. Yeah. So tell me, where you're from. I believe you're a mechanical engineer.
Yeah, that's right.
Where you're living now, and what brought you to Australia?
Okay. I'm from Santa Cruz do Sul, Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil. I'm mechanical engineer graduated in 2018, and I'm here in Melbourne to learn more about engineer and English, of course. So I did some courses, English courses. So now I decide to validate my engineer degree in Melbourne to find better options like for work and and for life. Have better life in Melbourne. So I'm here for that. And I found your channel to help engineers. So I'm here for update my validation and my qualifications. So we have a
Yeah.
lot of questions for that, and I hope
And
I
when?
can qualify
Yeah. Yeah. And when did you graduate?
in 2018. 2018.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Well, congratulations for first winning the 15 minutes of free consulting. Thanks for
Thank you.
participating, Cesar. And also, congratulations on being the winner of the 75%
Perfect.
discount.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thanks for joining my program, becoming a very valuable student of my mentoring program. Thank you.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah, I did all the steps. So I write the note on the fridge. I will become an engineer in 2023. So let's work hard for that.
yes, I'm pretty sure that you will.
Thanks.
You will join the long list of validation formula
Engineer.
students that got approved. I'm pretty
I
sure
hope
you will.
so.
Yeah. So you've got many questions. So what are your
Right.
questions?
My first question is, if we apply like in Melbourne for mechanical engineer, we can work like in the other states as well, or just in Melbourne if like we apply here, or don't have like a specific place for us like actuate like we can actuate like in the whole Australia.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Cesar. The validation process is a nationwide
Hmm.
assessment. So because it's done by Engineers Australia, so once
Hmm.
you get your validation as engineer, regardless where you apply,
Yeah.
it's valid for the whole Australia.
Oh,
And one
that's
thing
good.
that's very important to say is
Hmm.
that uh, each state has some rules and legislation about how you can work as
Like
an
engineer.
engineer in the state.
Right.
So
Hmm.
Queensland has a very strict regulation about engineers registration.
Okay.
New South Wales started some registration for some areas in July 2021. In Victoria, where you are,
Yeah.
there are some more stricter, even though it's new, it started in 2021 as well, but it's more broader. So it's a very good idea to have a look at the state
Hmm.
website about engineers registration. Even there is, I think there is a session on Engineers Australia webinar about registration of engineers in Victoria. So it's a free webinar.
Hmm.
It can count towards your CPD as well. So it's a
Oh,
CPD event
nice.
that you can use.
Oh,
And
oh,
then you can get information about how you can get registered in Victoria after you get validated, obviously.
right. That's good. I'm taking some notes for
Yeah,
I look after.
yeah.
Beautiful. Um, yeah, that's the first question. The second question I have is I have like a mechanical machining course in Brazil is mecânico de usinagem, I say in Portuguese
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah,
clarify better, yeah.
yeah.
And I did this course by Senai. It's the school I graduated there, Senai. And I can use that like a specialization, or I can use that like for specialization in mechanical engineering area.
Well, the question is, when did you do this course? Did you
Did
do after you
in
graduated or
no
before?
before because it was my like technical course,
Yeah,
not
okay.
like an engineer. So it was the first step to like start the degree, the course mechanical engineer. So
Yeah,
I did it, mechanical usinagem, for learn how to operate machines, like lead machine and CNC machines, like
CNC,
the
yeah.
automatic, yeah. with machines. So that's the question, if I can use that for like one specialization in my area, or I can't use that because I graduated before the mechanical engineering course.
Yeah, well, in terms of those relevant academic documentation, yeah, in step number 3, it's pretty much the courses after your graduation. Even your CPD, this course of mechanical usinagem, you're not going to be able to use as your CPD because it needs to be just after you graduated. So if you've done that before you graduated, yeah, you can't use it. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One thing that can help you, obviously, when you're trying to find a job, if you have, you can certainly put in your resume, because it's a skill and a competency that probably companies will value, because you know
Value.
you also qualified and you know how to do it as well. Yeah.
No, good. All right. And other question is about regional and non-regional places. Like they say, it's easier for you apply to become an engineer in non-regional places, but I don't know actually so much about these rules. So if you could like clarify a little bit for us, what is the regional and non-regional places in Australia to apply for, have easier like the visa and you know, the
Yeah.
skills,
Yeah,
everything.
I don't know much about it,
Uh,
and I know a little bit, because
uh-huh.
that's probably more for like
Asian
migration agents.
immigrants, yeah.
But what I do know
Mm-hmm.
is that non-regional, they are just 3 cities in Australia: Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. They
Mm-hmm.
are not considered to be regional. I believe that there are the other cities, they all regional.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of becoming an engineer, to validate as an engineer, it doesn't really matter where
Matt,
you are.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
but
good.
I believe that for future visa applications, it's more obviously difficult if you apply when you are in those big centers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the government encourages and gives more points if you are living in a regional area. So it's a good idea to talk to a registered migration agent, just to see
Yeah.
what are your chances if you apply in Melbourne, if you apply
Mm-hmm.
even in a city next to Melbourne, let's say Geelong or
Okay.
something like that. Yeah, yeah.
And you have some immigrant agents for share for with us, because last time I didn't could take the notes and talk with them, because I think it's a good idea to talk with someone who is closest engineers
Yeah.
to help them, you know.
Yeah. Well, there are a few ones that I usually refer.
Mm-hmm.
One is Carlo Castriota from Bloom Migration. I might, I think Carlo Castriota from, yeah, I'm just typing here, sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Bloom
Then we can find easier.
Migration. So he's on the Gold Coast.
Okay.
Another one, probably Juliana from 7 Migration.
That's good.
Yeah.
All good.
So probably any of those, you will get very good services. Yeah. And I don't get
Yeah.
any commission. I just
Yeah,
refer
we
those
feel more
that
comfortable, you know. Yeah, with some indications that you gave for us. So yeah, I think is the best way to do it, and then we can clarify and ask them as well. Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Right. And I have some other questions as well. Like in Brazil, I used to have two jobs. So I used to have one motorcycle workshop, and I worked in both like two tobacco companies. I have experienced them. Yeah, so my question is, in my motorcycle workshop, I can use the courses I did as well with like specializations for validate the mechanical engineer graduation because I read in the ANSEO that have some specializations that you can use like air conditioning engineer, heating and ventilation engineer. So I did some courses relating suspension, motorcycle suspensions, and I don't know actually if it counts like in specialization for because engineer I believe that's more different area that just focus on motorcycles, because it was like a hobby and
Yeah.
for me. So
Yeah. Well, if it
yeah.
was after your graduation, and if you think about
Mhm.
the job of an engineer, if you have to design a motorcycle, for example,
Yeah, because
uh,
we did this. Yeah,
understanding
class
understanding how the suspension works
works. Yeah,
and doing some studies about motorcycle suspension, it
yeah.
certainly is something that will uh, improve your professional knowledge. So if it
Mhm.
was after you graduated, you can use as a CPD event. Yes,
Yeah,
you can.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like we have all the drawings and we have all the performance we did, changing all the parts. And
yeah,
I believe that it looks good because I have the real photos about the system. I'm doing everything and changing the parts.
yeah.
And after I have the experience like riding the bike, like the stock mode and the performance mode, and I
All right.
could see the difference,
The
you know.
difference. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's really good. And how I did as well all the drawings with SolidWorks, all the softwares,
All
we
right.
use a lot SolidWorks, yeah.
Yeah, I see.
So I have a lot of drawings with that.
Yeah, maybe it's something that we can discuss later on about the
Yeah,
experience that you can write in your career episodes. Yeah.
yeah, that's good. And how we know that we are writing, the right English. Sometimes we think, we don't have enough English and we don't feel comfortable for write in English all the experience like you told us. Some people they prefer to write in Portuguese and then after translate to English, but you say it's better write like in English straight away. Don't translate after. And how we know that's good enough? Like you have someone that we can send the documentation, or you will like have a look first, and then we send to Engineers Australia.
Well, as I said, the way that you write a report is part of Engineers Australia evaluation as well. Especially, have you done your English test already or not?
No, I don't
Not yet.
feel like ready for that, but I'm looking now for do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can tell you, Cesar, your English is good. Is good.
Oh, good.
So I don't believe you'll have trouble to write in English.
Okay.
And as I said before, the success in the validation process is more about the preparation and the planning and the organization.
Yeah.
And you will see when you watch the classes, you will be taking notes. You're probably going to start reading some of the technical standards, and so
Yeah,
you
for
can
sure.
get familiarize yourself with the
Hmm.
technical terminology in mechanical engineering. And then
Right.
when you start writing, you will see that your English is even better,
Bad.
and you'll be able to to write the report. And then, yeah, you can send me your report. I can have a read
Oh,
and
beautiful.
see
That's good.
and give a feedback to you saying, oh, yeah, you probably need to rewrite again, or that's good enough.
Well, there do some
Yeah, yeah,
changes. Yeah. Oh, good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I think writing English is going to be the least of your worries. Your
For
English
sure.
is good enough for you to write a good report. And if you follow the steps and you follow the
Yeah,
methodology in
you're
the
mentoring
report,
the program.
yeah,
Yeah,
you will, even without an excellent English, you can still write a very strong and solid report.
report. Oh, beautiful. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of students that before joining my mentoring, they even started to write their career episodes, and they wrote like 1,500 words. And I said to them, well, you need to write a little bit more because it's
It's
a
not
little bit
enough.
superficial.
Yeah.
And after they watched all the classes, they ended up writing like 3,000 words. And I said, now you got to cut some
Improve
words
more.
because you wrote
That's
too
too
much.
much, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I feel really comfortable now with your mentoring program. And I know that if I start do all the steps, I will do a really good reports. And
Yeah.
I hope that you can have a look and then we send to
Yeah.
they to
All my
validate.
students, all the reports that I had a read of my students, they all wrote either 2,500 words or more words. And I had to say, you need to cut
You
some words
have to
there.
cut some. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like if I told all my experience in the tobacco companies, I know that have a lot of like situations there that I improve all the machines. I help, to improve the
Yeah.
process line. And if I told all the steps, like all the experiences I did there, so it will have a lot of content. So yeah, I
Yeah.
need to choose the right ones and organize all these parts. Sometimes
Yeah.
we have a lot of imagination and we just need to organize, like you said, you have to focus what help you after for the engineers
Yeah.
Australia understand your career episodes and then apply um your right like position for
Yeah.
weight like in Australia. Yeah.
And you will see that in module number 7, it's a full module just to help you to to choose the right
Mm.
experience for your career episode. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, most questions are there. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. Do we have more time? I don't know.
Yeah, well, if you have a last question, it's fine for me. Yeah.
Um, Let me think about, wait, talk all the big questions I had. Um, yeah, like the start, when I start to validate, I can start straight now before I do the English test because I need to like see about that the English test like PTE or IELTS. I don't know which one to choose, but they say like PTE is more easier to success and have a good score. So I thinking to choose the PTE
All right.
test to do the validation and see how is the score.
Yeah, some people, they obviously between PTE, IELTS, and TOEFL, each person has a different how can I say affinity. So some people they'll be doing better doing IELTS. Other people
Mhm.
will do better doing TOEFL, and other people will do better doing PTE. So it's important that you kind of book your test towards the end when you are kind of thinking to finish your validation process. Because if you do it
Mhm.
now, even if you
Okay.
get a score, uh, you're not going to use the test until you actually finish all your reports, then you can apply. So if you do it in, let's say, 3 or 4 months when you're planning to finish your reports, it's an addition of 3 or 4 months of study that
Mm.
will
Yeah, in
help
English.
will
I
help
got that.
in your test as well. So, and some people, they do the test, even though, for example, if you want to have a very high score in English to get more points, but if you want to apply your validation straight away, you can do your English test and get the minimum, at least the minimum scores, so you can apply for your validation. And then you can study a little bit more if you didn't get very high scores. But then when you're going to apply for your visa, then you do another English test to get a higher score. So
you use the highest score for the validation. Okay, I got because all the mentoring program, all the reports, like it could improve your English as well, doing all this work. So,
it will improve.
I understand.
That's one thing that all my students, they say that because they start reading more, they write the reports, they need to interpret. When they read a technical article, they interpret the article, they understand better. So you will see that naturally your English will improve.
Yeah, so that's a good part, because like we engineers, we think, we have to do before the English test and see how is the English score, for then validate the engineer, So they have to to see they don't need to do like first the English test and then after the validation process. You can already do the validation first and then do the test later, because all the the validation process, it could upgrade your English skills. Okay,
And
that's really good.
And you see that all classes in the mentoring, they all in English. All the support material is in English. So even though obviously I could do in Portuguese, but I thought that it doesn't help you guys if I do all the mentoring in English. I may even not getting a lot of much more students because it's in English, because some people, they probably prefer to be in Portuguese. But I think that it helps you guys, even though obviously I'm not a native English speaker, but for you guys to listen English is better than not listening English at all. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, have to be in English, because we are here to learn English. And then if it's like all the validation process in Portuguese, how you could improve your English?
So it's going to be difficult.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Yeah. I think it's all the questions I have clarified now. It's really so I'll just do the hard job, all the reports and everything to validate all the experiences and the engineer program.
And I will include you in our VIP group in Telegram. Do you have a Telegram account?
I used to have one, but I didn't use too much. But I can do again, or just validate again this account.
Yeah, I will send in your Instagram the link to join the general group. And then you send me a hello in there, that I know that it's you. And then I will include you in the VIP group, just for the students.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, then we have all the content there. All right.
Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah, thank you very much, Cesar, again.
Yeah.
And welcome to the Validation Formula family.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that's good to have another validation formula student in the mentoring program. Thank you very much, Cesar. And now I'm going to talk about the biggest fears that usually engineers, they face during the validation process. And I just would like to remind you guys about the validation formula online mentoring program enrollment. The enrollments are open. You can, we'll put website, Validation Mentoring, Validation Mentoring, and still take advantage of the workshop offer. You will have $600 discount. I'll put it in here, discount, and plus the 9 bonuses for free. So you just need to access the website www.validationmentoring.com and check out the enrollments. They close next Sunday 11:59 p.m. or for the first 20 students. All right. Okay, so just get my notes here. I'm going to talk about the biggest fears that usually engineers they face. The first fear is probably the one that I mentioned, well, that we talked with Cesar, not being very good in English. That one fear that a lot of engineers, they don't start their validation process just because they think that their English is not good enough. And then they think about, I'm going to improve my English, then I'm going to start my validation process. For those ones that participated in the workshop, especially in the opening session of the workshop, you will see that that's just probably an excuse because of procrastination. Because of procrastination, you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to start tomorrow, I'm going to start tomorrow. And then you think in your head that, well, I'm not very good in English, so that's why I'm not going to start my validation process. That is just probably your brain finding a justification to procrastinate. But obviously, you will need a proficient level to validate your qualification, because you need to do an English test and get the minimum score. Let's say IELTS, you need to get 6 in minimum 6 in the 4 bands: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And if you're going to do PTE, you need to get at least 50 in each of the bands. So if you are a little bit of more than basic, if you are intermediate, and if you can understand my English, you're probably okay. As I mentioned with Cesar, during your validation process, when you are reading the technical articles, when you are writing the draft of your reports, when you are participating in webinars, hopefully in English, you will improve your English naturally. So the period of time that you're going to be doing your validation process, about 3 or 4 months, you will improve your English. So don't be afraid to start your validation process just because your English is not quite good. Another fear that usually happens with engineers is that when you don't really have enough work experience. A lot of engineers, they think that because they don't have enough work experience, they're not going to be able to validate their qualification as an engineer. If you don't know, Engineers Australia does not require work experience. Engineers Australia is I think is the only assessing entity that can accept just your engineering academic experience. So if you don't have work experience, or if you have work experience that is not relevant according to the occupation definition in ANZ SCO, you can use your academic engineering experience to write your career episodes. The other fear that usually engineers they have is, all right, Gerson, I don't have work experience, so I will have to use my academic engineering experience, but I don't really have access to my academic work. Why is it important to have access to academic work? Because usually, probably 95% of the time, when you write your career episodes based on academic experience, Engineers Australia will probably ask you to send a copy of your academic report. So let's say that you write about your mechanical engineer like Cesar, and he's done some work. He designed a new suspension, for example, for a motorcycle. And let's say that that was an academic work. Engineers Australia will probably ask, could you please send us a copy of your academic report where you designed the motorcycle suspension? If he doesn't have any more that report because he left in Brazil or he moved houses and it was gone and doesn't have the file, etc. One thing that you can do, if the work was done in a group, you can try to remember who was in your group and maybe ask somebody else in the group, do you still have that work that we did together? Maybe they do. And if they do, they can send it to you. It's because you're part of the group. Obviously, the report that you had and you don't have anymore is the same one that another group member still has. So, and because you're going to describe the work that you did in that group, doesn't really matter that was a copy from somebody from your group or your copy, because they're all the same copy. However, if nobody has the report, what you can do, you can contact the university and then talk to your professor or talk to the course coordination and ask them if they can send you a letter stating that you've done that subject, you've done that work, you've done that report, and they can then say that you did it. Usually they're going to ask you to send the career episode to them so they can read what you wrote, and then the course coordinator can say that your report in your career episode reflects the work that you did when you were studying. So that reference letter from the university, majority of times, I have many students that did that, and Engineers Australia accepted. And if you have questions, guys, you can write in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer questions in the comments as well. And don't forget to hit the like button if you think that the questions that Cesar had were interesting and the answers were helpful for you. Hit the like button. And if you think that the fears that I'm explaining to you guys that engineers have, if you think that they also your fears, or if you think that it's interesting, hit the like button and I will appreciate it. The other fear that engineers have is they not quite sure about the experiences to use in the career episode. So that's another big fear. And this fear is legit, is real true, because having the right engineering experience, I'd say either academic or work experience, is critical. It's critical to the process. And I'd say that it's a matter of success or failure. Why is that? If you don't choose the right experience, most certainly Engineers Australia assessor will not approve your application. If your experience does not match the definition of ANZ SEO occupation for the occupation that you're applying for, doesn't matter if you address all competencies. If the experience is wrong, your application probably is not going to be successful, and you will get a feedback from Engineers Australia assessor to rewrite your career episode. So again, if you have to take away a lesson, a learning from tonight's live session, that's the thing. If you don't choose the right experience in your career episode, even though you address all competencies, it's most likely that your career episode is not going to be approved, and you will have to rewrite your career episode. I've seen many engineers doing this, so you've got to make sure that you choose the right experience. The other, not being a good report writer. So again, I'm going to ask your participation. If you can write in the comments, yes or no, are you a good writer? If you are a good writer, say yes. If you're not a good writer, say no. If you so-so, yeah, and then you say so-so. So what's your view about yourself? Are you a good writer? Yes, no, or so-so? I will write my assessment of myself. So, sorry. I am not a good writer. I write very good reports today, but naturally, I'm not a good writer. Yeah, Gerson, but don't understand. You say that you're not a good writer, but you write good reports. Yes, I had to learn how to write good reports, even though I'm not a good report writer. A lot of people, they write very good reports. They just natural good writers, but unfortunately, I don't have that gift. To be able for me to write good reports, even at work, I have to do many things. I have to plan myself. I have to take notes. I have to organize my thinking. I have to do a lot of research. I have to use a certain structure that I have in my mind. And then I can put everything together and write a good report. So, but the most important thing about writing a good report, and that's probably the second lesson that you need to take away from this live session. You need to understand what is the expectation of the person who is reading the report. So a good report is a report that the person that's reading will like it. So if you're going to write the report for Engineers Australia Assessor, you need to think about, put yourselves in the shoes of the Engineers Australia Assessor. What is she or he expecting from my report? That's a basic question. If I was the assessor, what would be my expectation of the report? So I explained that in my mentoring session because it's a long thing to explain, but I explained that in my mentoring session. So my students, they all understand what the expectation of the assessor is going to be. Because then when you write the report, you can write a report that will meet the expectation of the assessor. The other fear that engineers have usually is not understanding the competencies. That's a big fear that a lot of engineers have. I had when I was writing my reports, but luckily, when I did, because my first job as a professional was not counting the cleaners and kitchen hand and those sort of things. And there's nothing wrong with that. I said that many times. But the first professional job that I had here in Australia, I was delivering consultancy and training in business and project management. And to deliver training, I had to do my certificate 4 in training and assessment. And because of that training, I learned everything about competencies, because here in Australia, the trainings, they're all based on competencies. And I had to assess the competencies of my students. And when I learned about competencies, I then could understand what the units of competencies and the evidences, everything related to competencies was about. And then I understood, and I could link the examples to the competencies. And that's what I do to my students. They will see, and Cesar will see when he watches the classes for each of the 16 competencies, that I give fundamentals so my students can understand the fundamentals of that competencies. And also I give examples. For example, I'll give an example of a very simple one. There's a competency that talks about oral and written communication. I don't have I think it's a 3.2 or 3.5, not sure now. But it's about oral and written communication. So examples that I give to them is that, for example, I'm giving to you now. If you organized and if you chaired a meeting to discuss the design scope of your project, for example, that is one example. So if you have done that, you can use that as an example for that particular competency. Also, if you, in your project, if you wrote a monthly report or a finalization report about your project, that is also an example of that particular competency. If you, let's say, if you had a meeting to discuss some difficulties in the project, in the design, or with a peer to review the design, that meeting is also an evidence of that particular competency about oral and written communication. So if you prepared materials, if you prepared technical notes, if you prepared a booklet, if you prepared a guideline, they all evidences of oral and written communication. And this is the sort of examples that I give for each of the 16 modules, because it's really difficult to understand when you read the competencies in life number 3. When I was going through the summary statement, I read some of the competencies, and some of them are really, really difficult to understand and to relate to address that competency. And that is a difficulty. It's a fear that engineers have. But what I can suggest to you is to read the competencies 5 times until, if you don't understand what is saying, you need to go to try to understand each of the words, try to understand the fundamentals of that. And the other difficulty is about the other fear is about plagiarism. This is a big fear that engineers have. I'm particularly, if you don't do anything wrong, you don't need to fear that. You don't need to have that fear if you're not going to do anything wrong. Obviously, if you ask somebody else to write on your behalf, if you engage a company to write for you, if you copy things from the internet, if you go to those Facebook groups and then you copy the career results from the examples that people put in Facebook groups, then you're going to have this fear, because Engineers Australia will catch you, because they have very advanced plagiarism detection software, and they will catch it. But if you're not planning to do anything of that, you don't need to have that fear. And that's why I teach my students how to do it. I don't do it for them, obviously, because it's unethical, but I teach them how to do it. And they all do it by themselves with their own words, writing the reports themselves. So there's no fear if you're not going to do anything wrong. But if you're going to do something wrong, yeah, then obviously you have to have that fear. And the last one that I'm going to talk about is about a lot of people, they have the fear not knowing how to start. And that is a big fear, because a lot of people, they don't do it because they don't know how to start. And there are many components to help you not to start. One of them is about procrastination. We talked about during the opening webinar. And procrastination will keep telling you, don't start. Yeah, leave it until tomorrow. Leave it until you finish your English test. Leave it until you understand everything. Leave it until you can get all your documents. Leave until, you just renew your visa. Just leave until another 6 months or whatever. So that's procrastination. Another thing that will prevent you to start is not to understand the process. You can hear from people that's easy, that's difficult, whatever. But if you don't understand the process, you're probably not going to start because you don't know what the process is. You don't know where to start. So I give an idea, already mentioned that during the workshop, that a good first step is to read the booklet. So go to Engineers Australia website, type in migration skills assessment, and read the booklet. That's the first step that you need to do. When you read the booklet, you will have some questions. If you have questions, means that you are learning. There's no learning without questions. My students, they have a lot of questions. My students in my portal, when they're watching the classes, there is and Cesar, you will see there is a chat box. When you're watching the classes, if you have something that you don't understand, you can either put in the VIP group in Telegram, or you can write in the chat box. If I am online, I will answer. If I'm not online, I'll answer a little bit later on when I check the chat. But it's important to ask questions when you don't understand. If you're reading, if you're studying, and if you don't have questions, one, either because you're very intelligent and you understood everything, or you didn't pay attention, you didn't focus, you're thinking about something else, and because you didn't pay attention, you think that you understood when in fact you didn't. So read the booklet, ask questions, go to my YouTube channel. I've got I think more than 300 videos there that I talk about pretty much everything about validation process. You will find the answer to your question. You just need to search. But all the questions and all the answers are probably in my YouTube channel. I don't know anybody else that talks about the validation process that has more than 300 videos in their YouTube channel. So, and it's all for free. You can go there. You don't need to be part of my mentoring. You can go there and search for yourself. You will find it there. It's all for free. Obviously, those ones that they are part of my mentoring program, they want to speed up their process, and they want to follow a very structured methodology. But a good way to start is to read the booklet and watch my YouTube videos. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I welcome you to subscribe in there. All right. I just want to have a look if there's any more there. No, and we already 1 hour. So I would like to remind you guys that the enrollment for my validation mentoring program is open, and I will actually pin that comment. So I pinned the website, so you can, I don't know if you can actually click in there and go to the site, but you can copy and paste and take the opportunity of the $600 discount and the 9 bonuses that you get for free as well, and join a very exclusive group of students. Just this week, I had, and I saw Rafael there. He was one of my students that got validated. Well done, Rafael. And just this week, we had Rafael and Felipe that got validated as engineers here in Australia. And you can join them. Raphael was the 29th student, validation formula student, that got validated. And Cesar, the one that we did the consulting today, he can be the 30th. He can be the next one to be validated. And I'm pretty sure that he's got really, really good chances to be validated. And also, I'd like to thank all of you guys that participated in the workshop Engineer Journey 2023. And I'm going to have tomorrow on Monday, 8 p.m. Brisbane time, I'm going to be delivering the free consulting to Wagner, who was the other winner of the 15 minutes of free consulting. So tomorrow, Instagram and YouTube, I'm going to be delivering the 15 minutes of free consulting. Please participate. You will see the benefits in answering the questions that he's got. And also I'm going to run the question and answer sessions that I received during the workshop. So I would like to thank you guys very much. And don't forget to access the website www.validationmentoring.com and check out the benefits and the opportunities and the discount and the warranty and all the bonuses that I'm offering for this group of my Validation Formula online mentoring program. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. See you then. Bye-bye.